the starting point, you must make this clear. No one is against the so-called fight against terrorism. No one is saying that, let's let terrorists not loose. But when you have laws to so-called combat terrorism, you must ensure that these laws have sufficient safeguards. Okay, that's important. Because we don't want that particular law to be abused. And it's not as if we are talking here in a vacuum. It's not as if we do not have the benefit of history. Dato' Amni and George has mentioned about how ISA, it was meant for terrorists. But as usual, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And we saw how hellish the ISA would be. And so when we have a law like POTA, and all we have is a promise, a guarantee by the government that it will not be abused, without any of the legal safeguards, then I think that is not something that can make us sleep well at night. We must have something more. We must have, at the very least, judicial scrutiny. We must ensure that the person who decides whether we go in, whether our liberty is curtailed, is an independent judiciary, not the executive. Because make no mistake, as George has pointed out, the POTA board, the magistrate even, the magistrate, the first instance is just a rubber stamp, okay? He or she has no discretion whether to allow, as long as there is a certificate by the public prosecutor or by the police, she has to give the initial 60 days order. And then thereafter, the POTA board, okay, it is actually not an independent judicial body. They are appointed by the Yang Tuan Agong, but the Yang Tuan Agong acts upon advice. And more importantly, they do not have security of tenure. So if, say for example, they're not giving out the orders that the government wants, a government can just say, okay, I'm going to replace that member. And the person in this POTA board, there's actually, none of them need to actually be, for example, a sitting High Court judge or retired High Court judge. All it says is that the chairman must be legally qualified. Okay, that's all. So what this could actually mean that, I don't know, a bank manager, working in some bank for 15 years, can actually be the chairman. Because that's the requirement in the POTA board. Okay? So don't make this mistake of thinking that, oh, we have a POTA board, it is an independent body. It is not. It is just another arm of the executive. And I know that a lot of people, have criticisms about the judiciary, but at the very least, when it is the judiciary who decides on whether your liberty is curtailed or not, at the very least, there might be that hope that there will be a fair trial. But here there is no trial, there is no charges. All you know is that there is this inquiry officer who makes representations to the POTA board, and then you go in for 2 years. And then it can be renewed indefinitely. The ironic thing in all of this is this. The government keeps, I think after the Anwar decision, for example, we see a lot of people getting investigated, arrested for criticizing the courts. But by circumventing judicial scrutiny, by completely circumventing the courts, the government is actually showing that it is they who do not have belief and faith in their own courts. Don't they have any belief or faith that the courts, once evidence is shown that they will actually convict the so-called terrorists, why is it they need to take the shortcut? So these are questions which have been posed, ladies and gentlemen, and the government doesn't seem to have an answer. Okay? It's like they just pretend that these are not salient questions. And until now, the act has been passed essentially by Parliament, and until now they have not actually justified why is it that we need such a law in the first instance. Remember, How did this come about? It came about from a white paper saying that there's this new terrorist threat of the Islamic State and how there are Malaysians who go overseas to join the ISIS and so on and so forth. And they also say that the laws that we have are not enough. But in that white paper, nothing is said as to why is it that these laws are not enough. Remember, we have laws like SOSMA. We have offences, we have under the penal code. Okay? We have the CPC, which can be used. Why is it that these laws are not enough to combat terrorists? This is the question that we keep asking the government, and yet all they say is that we need POTA. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not enough. Okay? So going back to the original question, we cannot just have a guarantee by the government that this will not be abused, because we have seen such laws being abused, and George had pointed out as to how this is actually a mirror image of the ISA. Okay? If we have seen the ISA being abused, I think we can safely, it's not too much to think that this particular law will also be abused. Thank you.